So now what do I do? Well, I guess there's only one thing. There's something I'd like to know. Are you real? Can you feel?
Hello, beautiful angels. I hope you guys are all doing well for the 30th time today. I was called to do a collective reading for Divine Feminine. This was coming through very strong. Now, I was going to do it like in the visible, but I didn't want to brush my hair. So this isn't every Divine Feminine's message. This is a very specific. I know I always say this, and maybe all my readings are always highly specific here, because this is really for those who are going to resonate with this messaging, okay? There's a Divine Feminine frequency I'm really tapped into here. That's the house or the container for the Divine Masculine. And I know that's a big turnoff to a lot of Divine Feminines, okay? So if it doesn't resonate with you, this probably isn't your reading, okay? Or if this makes you feel, I don't know, any sort of way in which you're curious about, then maybe this is your reading. Because this channeled message that's coming through right here is in regards to making a safe space to guide Divine Masculine. And the Divine Feminine is guiding this Divine Masculine. That she isn't above him. She isn't anymore anything other than she is the clarity that's needed in order for the Divine Masculine to work through something that's very challenging right now. And so does she have to do anything? No. There's a certain collective of Divine Feminine that's being called to rise above the ego, to rise above what she thinks she needs to do or be. She needs to see beyond herself. She needs to get beyond herself. And she needs to carry on a mission of truth that she was committing to before coming here on earth, okay, in a previous life, to taking action on a greater truth and abiding by that great truth. Now, like I say, we don't have to do anything at all. But if we were called upon a mission to take action, we want to be integral to it. We want to follow the truth. We want to see what it is that we're not seeing. There's something that we're not seeing. I'm getting so much channel from this deck box already. This is the deck I'll be using, by the way. Okay, the Queen, oh my gosh, Spirit, there's just too much coming through here right now. Queen of Swords, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. This Divine Feminine, she doesn't have to have a Gemini, Libra, Aquarius sun, moon, or rising. Okay, but it's the archetype that's coming through. The Queen of Swords is very direct and clear, and she doesn't waffle, and she doesn't give into bouts of fear. Okay, if she's in shadow, this sword can cut and could create damage and is very hurting. It could be resentful, angry, bitter, and chop something off before it grows. Okay, but the Queen of Swords, if she's in the light, she's clear. She provides direction. She has the wisdom. She has the understanding, and she could provide the guidance, and she could take action on truth and clarity and lead the way with the sword, clearing and forging a path. It's up to her how she wants to yield the sword. And if she's veiled, which I feel I'm talking to someone who's veiled or who needs clarity in regards to the veil that could appear. If she's veiled, she's using that sword against what she wants. And she thinks she's using it to forge ahead, but she's using this sword in a way that's actually veiled, and it's further away from truth. It's not providing clarity, and it's chopping off an opportunity that she would want, okay, either with a Divine Masculine or a situation or circumstance here. And so she is being guided to take a look from the point of not having the veil. How is she going to yield this sword? How is she going to take action? Is she actually seeing clearly, or is she distorted with her veil and she can't see beyond her anger or her judgments or her own perceived feelings? Because if her feelings are intense and she thinks she knows something, okay, that's the issue when we have the veil. We think we know something, but we're not awakened. And then we act as if that is great truth. And we create more suffering, more division. Okay, so I feel we're creating division right now in a connection, and we don't even realize it and we could think that we're being cut out or shut out. We could be bitter about something. We could be upset. Okay, this isn't gaslighting at all. This is a channeled message for divine feminine that's being called to forge the way forward. So if she wants to be in victim mindset, or if she wants to just run with a different agenda, go ahead. Veil, because it's all our responsibility to graduate in the heart space of truth of the creator and not ignorance of the ego. However, if this lifetime we were meant to stay in veil and ignorance and ego and not see beyond ourselves, then we could choose that for sure. Okay, there's something very destined here. Now I'm getting Wheel of Fortune here with the Queen of Swords. She's being asked to move. She's being guided. Okay, things could turn around here. It's up to her. How does she want to gamble this thing? I mean, she wants to cut something off. Okay, so maybe she's acting very rash here, and she thinks she's being level-headed. She thinks she's acting in great truth, but really she's acting in veil because there is no truth in cutting something out or pushing something off or assuming a something that is based in fear. Okay, if we're creating division, then that is not based in the highest truth. The highest truth is that of love. And so if it's not loving, then there's something wrong with that truth. It's a perceived truth. It's not the great truth. Okay, so I'm going to do this collective reading, and we're going to take a look at what Spirit wants to communicate to this Queen of Swords, divine feminine energy. Okay, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, like I said, but it doesn't have to be her sun, moon, rising. It's the archetype of energy that pulls through here with this Queen of Swords, because I feel like she's hurting and she's had an experience, so she might think she knows. And Spirit saying, are you sure you know, or are you looking through a veil right now? And you're not seeing the truth. Okay, so let's see. Spirit for the divine feminine that I'm tapped into here. What is this message? Something about communication and action for sure. Okay, she's wanting to take some form of communication, or she might be weaponizing some form of communication or withholding some sort of communication for some sort of power under some understanding of something that is not based in truth. Okay, and so for her highest good, not for anyone else's, but I do feel it regards a connection with other, and it regards a leading divine masculine. Okay, so if the divine masculine is needing to work on some wounding collectively, then there's a group of divine feminine that are committed to the safety of making sure that the divine masculine is being able to heal the wound or see the thing. And so she must see it first, okay? If she wants to say, I don't want to, why me, blah, 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 ego, then she doesn't have to. She can go sit there and suffer or do whatever she wants to do. All right, so let's see. What is this message to this? So this is getting one's wish. I'm putting these back because of the way they fell out, but Aquarius energy. Okay, so more of this Queen of Swords, Aquarius. Star is all about getting her wish. It's all about healing. It's all about that destiny, like I said, with that Wheel of Fortune. So she's being guided, okay, guided by the universe. And I think she wants something. So to align with what she wants, she is being guided. It's going to be very healing. It's going to provide healing. But she has to understand what she's following here. Like, what is she actually following? Is she following the truth, or is she following fear? And whatever she plans on taking action or no action or withholding communication or action, or what it is that she's doing is going to dictate where she's going and what she's building here. Okay, so how many stars we have here? 8. So 8 is the ego number because that is the number of strength. So is she letting ego get in the way of the movement? Okay, because 8 is all about movements, change and attainment. So she wants something. Again, the ego wants what it wants, and it will do whatever it needs to do because it desires outcome. Okay, but the healing here is identifying the ego and the movements we're taking based on action, words, which are stem from thoughts. And so what are her thoughts right now? Because her thoughts might be coming veiled. She might have a distorted understanding. And then she drives her feelings and then she acts based on that. Okay, so it's going to mislead her. 9 of Pentacles. So this is the single card. This is the confidence. Okay, this is like having everything we need confidently that we built ourselves in order to support ourselves so that we could sustain whatever decisions we make. This is the single card. So let's see. What is this collective message for the Divine Feminine? Knight of Pentacles. So we have slow and steady wins the race, the Lovers, Gemini energy, again connecting to this Queen of Swords. So a decision here. Interesting, because I unveiled these cards earlier today, and this card came out and this card came out for that reading and the unveiling of that tarot deck. So let's see. Why is the 9 Pentacles here? The 9 Swords. So 9. Nines are about fruition, completion, fulfillment. Okay, but 9 is also Moon, which is what subconscious, fears, uncertainty. Okay, a lack of clarity, which is opposite of the Queen of Swords. Is she could be making an assumption on clarity, but be completely in the dark. The Moon is not seeing clearly. Okay, so Cancer and some Virgo energy, but there's anxiety here. 99 is a master number. Being the change you wish to see and helping humanity to release what no longer serves. What did I say about this collective? She is the Divine Feminine that's leading the Divine Masculine, so she has to be the change she wants to see. She can't wait for the other person to come correctly. She has to be coming correctly. It's up to her, not up to anyone else here, okay? But she might be stuck having anxiety about what other is doing. We have the Fool in reverse, more Aquarius energy. And we have the 2 of Pentacles in reverse. I'm going to get a clarifier here for the 9 of Pentacles. Why is this 9 Pentacle here? 4 Pentacles in release in reverse. Yes, okay. And then the bottom of the deck, we have the Ace of Pentacles and then the 8 of Pentacles. So, beautiful Divine Feminine energy. Okay, I'm not talking gender, I'm talking about Divine Feminine energy here. She has a mindset right now. And her mindset is really focused on her material position. She has an understanding of herself. And I feel it's based on what she's come up with in the 3D, which is fine. Okay, but as we know, there's more than just 3D existing. Okay, there's the 5D, the spiritual, there's emotions, there's a whole bunch of things that paint a big picture of truth and reality. So either we're veiled and very limited with our understanding of ourselves, or we're broadened to a lot of possibility, and then we can align better with what's more authentic to us. But if we don't see, then we sort of make decisions based on certain comforts, based on certain understandings that might not necessarily be for the highest here. And so I feel like there's something here about her anxiety getting in the way of what she truly wants to manifest here. And what Spirit is saying is, in order to manifest the thing, the wish she wants, for it to come true in the 3D, the energy and the effort has to be put in that right direction, okay, in the direction of that in which she wants. If it's invested elsewhere, if it's not invested in this area, it doesn't create the manifestation. It gets stuck and stagnant. And so there's something here about taking a risk, having a new beginning here. And I think she is throwing it in the garbage in some way. And what this means is there's a potential with the Wheel of Fortune for things to turn, for things to get better. It would require her to take a risk, for things to solidify and manifest. The effort required to do this thing, for her to get what she wants. She has to decide this. And I think that this decision that she's making might be dressed up as, this is the best thing for me, is to just let go of this moving in that direction, or this dream, or this communication. And so she's not considering it. She's not even taking a chance on it. But really, there's more going on underneath. Maybe it's a fear of rejection. Maybe if I moved with this and then it didn't plant the thing, maybe I'd have to let go of something that I'm really hanging on to here that I don't want to let go of. There's a reason why she's not seeing her true intention of moving with something and allowing something here to work with something, move towards something, communicate towards something. And she's holding something else as the higher regard, but it's just a masquerade. Okay, it's like a mask. It's dressed up as giving her a sense of independence or freedom, or there's a thought system. And she might think, this is how I'm going to be independent, or this is how I'm going to be free, or this is how I'm going to succeed, or this is how I'm going to make do. This is how I'm going to make it by. And that's fine if she has the desire to make it by. That's not the thing we want to change. Everyone wants to make it by. Everyone wants to be able to do it on their own, for sure. This is about what she thinks, how she thinks what she needs to do in order to be in the right position is actually veiled, and it's not true. So she's cutting off what she's being encouraged to do and being guided to do in order for something to manifest here, but she has to let go of something. And her deepest fear is stemmed from a lot of anxiety that she might not even realize why she isn't allowing herself to move in this direction. It's like, well, it'd be too overwhelming. Maybe I'd have to face rejection. Maybe I fear, because again, with the moon energy I was feeling, maybe I have fears that are going to stir up my anxiety about the truth of my independence, or who I am, or that I need this or that I need that. There's something she's manipulating here. Okay, but I feel like she wants to align herself with some dream, and it is her destined purpose with the Lovers and the Wheel of Fortune, like we were saying, for her to get on this path. It would require her to make a decision. But when it comes to making that decision to get in line with that truth and that clarity, she's like, whoa, 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 I'm going to just be Queen of Swords here and convince myself of something here that's not necessarily true as a protective mechanism. And she doesn't realize she's just deflecting or resisting or deflecting something here. Yeah, High Priestess. So she doesn't realize, like, she doesn't see that she's doing this because it's in the subconscious and it's really hidden. Okay, but the intuition is saying, you, Queen of Swords, Divine Feminine, are being led by your intuition, being guided by this, and not by fear. And so what is your decision based on? What is your decision of not pursuing something here, or not taking the risk? You know, we don't want to appear foolish, or we're trying to mask something or hide something. Or maybe we feel like, oh, but I'd have to juggle, or I wouldn't be prioritized. Or now, is this based in reality of an ego, is desire, or is this based in something like he's juggling a grenade here? So whatever this is going to backfire is what I'm getting. And this is probably why I was being called to do this collective reading. Something's about to backfire here by whatever she's about to either unleash or remove or cut off. Okay, so let's see. I'll pull this and then we'll pull some oracles. Spirit for this Divine Feminine reading. What is this message about? What is this message about? What is she being guided to do? What is the intuition here? Or what is she saying she needs to do? So Ace of Wands, go after it. But this might mean, oh, I'd be exposed. You know, but also Ace of Wands could definitely be listening to the ego desire. And the ego desire is, I don't want to be rejected, or I want to be right, or I want to be prioritized. You know, want, which is fine. But the ego wants that because it has a hole, or it thinks it needs something. It doesn't need it unless it's healed, unless we see through our own ego and subconscious. she might have the tendency to follow some sort of desire here that she thinks she needs to feel whole and complete, but it's not necessarily true. 6 of Cups. So there's a nostalgic reminiscing about a person, place, or thing of the past. This could be a past life. This is also my card of reconciliation. So maybe she's acting out of ego when it comes to a reconciliation, or someone from the past, or an experience of the past. So childhood comes through. There's the Judgment. So she's making a judgment based on a past understanding she has. And strong childhood, like I said, could be the subconscious wounding. So if we have abandonment, we're making decisions based on that. And our understanding of that is going to drive our action, even if it's impulsive, even if it's egoic. It's like I must protect that ego or that inner child, and then I'm going to take action on what I know to be true. True. Meanwhile, it's not true. Okay, I mean, it's her truth for sure, but it's not going to get her where she wants to go. 3 of Wands in reverse, plus the 1 is the 4 Wands. I think she wants some form of union, some form of coming together. So the wand is up to her, how she yields that wand or that sword. And right now, it's like you won't move forward with that mindset of ego. You won't move forward moving with the childhood challenge, because it's created an egoic desire and a block here to a greater understanding of how something can move forward. It's blocked. 8 of Cups. Walk away from what doesn't emotionally fulfill. And so is she clearly understanding this, or is the ego seeing this through the perceived veil? This is emotionally dissatisfying. What is exactly the thing that's not filling the ego? Or is it the truth? And Spirit's saying, challenge this thing, because it's coming from a childhood wound that's wanting to see something differently in order to get what it wants. Is it considering other? Is it being rash? It's seeing something distorted for sure. Okay, so we have the 10 of Wands in reverse. So that's surrender, but it's also putting down a burden. And so this is in line with yesterday's collective reading. Somebody might say, I had enough, or they might be just walking away from something prematurely because they had enough. They can't carry anymore. And if they can't, then fine. But if they understood, truly saw the truth, would they still feel the same way? Would they still be burdened? Would they still take the same action? Let's see. Why is this 6 Cups here? So this is soulmates, soul recognition. The Queen of Swords in reverse. So like I said, this Queen of Swords, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, she is making a decision in the dark. It stemmed from a childhood wound or an experience of the past, a relationship with the past, an understanding that I had in a past life. Okay, and I do feel it is a contracting energy of lack, loss, resentment, not seeing. It's not in love and truth and clarity. And so her action is all around her understanding of this thing. She's seeing it and she thinks it's the truth. Saying this situation is this, that, because that's what I'm seeing with my eyes. But with the intuition, there's a greater truth, and she's not seeing beyond the veil of it. And so she's about to take action on her impulsive anger or her impulsive clarity. That's actually not clarity. And she's running with it like it's truth. But it's just the inner child that's trying to act out this thing. Okay, but it's going to create some form of block here. And I don't know, like, is she abandoning ship or is she doing something here? Let's see, what's with this 8 Cups? What's with the 8 Cups here for the Divine Feminine? The Hangman. So it's a need to change her perspective in regards to What's emotionally dissatisfying? It's exactly the energy I'm getting here. She thinks she knows exactly her now experience, and she's saying this, and this. It's emotionally dissatisfying. Therefore, I must do this, and this. And Spirit's saying, change your perspective, because we got to look at the baseline. The baseline of what you're saying is emotionally dissatisfying. You think it's emotionally dissatisfying, but it's really stemmed from an egoic childhood thingy that's creating a veil of understanding, and it's a lack of clarity in the truth here. And maybe it's actually something that is fulfilling for you. Okay, I'm not trying to convince you of this otherwise, but we got to see it differently or understand it differently before we walk away, or before we are committed to saying, I got to do something of walking away, or it's not emotionally fulfilling me. What is the truth? Spirit wants to work with you and tell you what the truth is. Spirit wants you to see the great truth before this, or so you can surrender, or so you can put down what the actual burden is. Because the burden could be this understanding. The burden could be the lack of clarity and truth. The burden could be the type of action we think we need to take, and it's actually stemmed from some childhood thing. So what is this 10 of Wands then in reverse? And it could be one and all of those. I need to surrender, and I need to see the truth here. Knight of Swords in reverse. So this to me is like ghosting, or like this one's moving, blocking, just I don't want to argue. I'm just going to fall off the face of the earth. I'm just going to go silent. I'm just going to give up on this thing. I'm just going to walk away, or not to talk to this person, not to confront this thing. It's like, it feels very much like not confronting the thing. And only a childhood wound would not want to confront the thing, because if I confront the thing, what if I'm rejected? And so I'd rather just be right, or I'd rather just keep the ego satisfied here and say that I am right in my understanding or my position, even though I'm not seeing it clearly. I'm seeing from this veil. 7 of Pentacles in reverse. So giving up on something, like I said, no longer feeding this thing, no longer maintaining the plant. Okay, so giving it water, sunlight, taking care of the plant. It's like, no, I don't want to grow this thing. And if we really truly were seeing with clear eyes, okay, not the veil, Spirit would say, sure, it's your choice not to feed something here that's not rewarding. But I think she's prematurely giving up on something here, okay, or thinking that that's the truth. Like, I'm just going to give up on it. It's just never going to grow. It's not going to be the thing that I want. The fruit will never come. So I'm throwing in the towel. I don't need to carry this burden. And she doesn't need to carry a burden. But if she walks and talks with that narrative, okay, the collective narrative, it's a burden, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but we got to go under the layer and see what is the burden exactly. Her belief of it being a burden is the false. It's actually not a burden. She feels it is because she's going about it and seeing it in a certain way here. And so she might prematurely give up, walk away, throw in the towel, or say the thing here is not going to grow. And Spirit's saying, no, it will only grow if she sees the truth. It will only provide the fruit if she switches how she's seeing something, because there is a greater truth for her to see. It's how she's engaged with this thing. It's not about the thing itself. The thing itself isn't whether it's going to grow or not grow, or it's going to provide fruit or not fruit, or whether she's wasting time or not time. It's saying, go back, and examine. Okay, begs the question, because she has a basis of a reality that is untrue, that she's predicating her decisions on, that it needs to be re-examined. It's based on a fear, a lack of clarity, and a lack of understanding on truth. And it might be fuel driven by an ego. And so it blinds her with this blinding understanding. It could be rage. It could be disappointment. It could be just a heaviness that I'm just blinded by it. Okay, heavy passion here. I'm blinded by it. It's too heavy for me to carry or understand. It's requiring too much of me. It's like, is it really? Or is this the ego speaking because of our past experience that kept us in this dark? And so before she walks away, or just assumes something's emotionally not providing, she has to relook at herself, okay? And now this ties back to my collective intro here, because she is being called to step forward here in truth and clarity so she could pave the way. It's not going to be paved for her. She can't go to another area with that same mindset, because the veil will still be there. So can she go experience other connection or other opportunity, or away from that star and create a different path? She can, but it'll always be under that veil. The veil never got removed. she's just under illusion somewhere else, creating maybe another 10 of wands, maybe not a 10 of wands. And then she could be in ignorance thinking, yay, it's great. You know, wherever she went, she thinks it's great. It's like, no, you're still in the veil. It's not aligned with truth. And so resistance would mean, I don't want to deal with this situation, so I'm going to go to another situation, or I'm just going to remove myself, or I'm just going to take myself out. It's like, no, but you never healed anything. You didn't see the truth. You're just resisting looking at the thing that might create pain. But we got to look at the pain sometimes, because sometimes it hurts to see truth. Sometimes it hurts to lift the veil. But once we lift the veil, we're free. We get what we want. And Spirit's saying you get the star. This reading is very interesting. So let's see. Look at that. 24 balance, heart chakra. Okay, and this is 6. So 6 is lovers, which came out over here. Lovers. Are we choosing love, or are we choosing the devil? The devil is the ego and the fear and the mind story. And the love comes from the heart and truth and clarity. And so if there's any resistance, any anger, any shame, any loss, anything that's reactionary, comes from ego. It's devil and it's fear-based. Any decision we're making on that is fear-based. Any decision that comes expansive with the heart, acceptance and understanding. This does not mean I allow everything that isn't for my highest good. This means I'm questioning everything from the highest position of clarity, not distortion, not ego, not veil, not past experience, not pains. And the pain body isn't making reactionary decisions. The balanced self is, okay, so I'm getting temperance, so I'm getting Sagittarius, Gemini, Capricorn energy here. Okay, so the heart makes balanced decisions. Everything else makes irrational decisions. Ego makes decisions solely based on fear and outcome. I want, if I don't get, then I act in all sorts of ways. I either block, resist, don't want, have aversions, create all sorts of boundaries, resistance, arguments, run, ghost, block. Or in love, I am accepting, seeing truth, seeing with clear eyes, making balanced decisions, not reactionary. Okay, so I think it's up to her right now how she wants to guide this thing. So she has to question her position. Let's pull one more. Okay, and 6 is all about problem solving, compassion, harmony. For the divine feminine, what other message we have here? Perspective. This is like the hangman energy, okay? And moon. 18 is moon. So I think she thinks she knows something, but it's veiled. I know the truth because I lived it, or I experienced it, or I'm seeing clearly. Meanwhile, no, you're seeing through moonlight and veil. You're seeing something that's distorted based on with this red, and this red is in this deck, the solar plexus, which I know is weird. Okay, and when I unveiled these cards, I was saying when I use these cards, it's going to be always layered messages. It's the root chakra disguised as the solar plexus, which is exactly the energy I'm feeling here. Independent self, 9 pentacles. For my highest good, I am empowered. I am my creator here. Okay, and so to say this, it sounds great, but when it comes from the ego, it's actually not true. It feels better than I'm just going to roll over and I'm useless. I'm no good. I have low self-esteem and low self-worth, of course. That root chakra as well, no good with the blocks there. But what also is ego is I'm independent, I make these decisions, and I'm empowered because my truth is the clear truth. I know it's the truth. And are we sure? Because there's only one divine truth. And we might get close to it, but we'll never know exact, objective, divine truth unless we're the divine. It's always distorted behind a veil of experience. Okay? To think that we know is very egoic. To think that our truth is the ultimate truth and then to act like it is, that is solar plexus energy. And then wrap it up as this is how I'm going to conquer or achieve or be independent or empowered. No, that's not actually how you're empowered. How you get empowered is to line up with the actual truth. And the actual truth says humility, seeing things from a higher perspective means all perspectives could have some weight to it. Everything that's going on is actually true in God's universe. Okay. And it's happening as truth. but it might be ignorance. It might be in shadow. It might be somebody acting out of fear. It might be a whole bunch of things. Doesn't mean it's not true. It just means someone's acting in shadow, or someone's acting in fear, or someone's acting in however. But now we see beyond that. We see clearly. We remove the veil to see situations and gain a different perspective. And when we can see this greater perspective, we can actually work through the moonlight. Because now we're working with seeing clearly. We're no longer being triggered to make decisions out of fear and out of perceived notions that aren't true. They're distorted. They're distorted from the actual root chakra, abandonment wounds. Okay, and with the 9 swords, it could be an anxious attachment, disguised as solar plexus energy, ego, independent, confident, strong, my willpower, my way. I'm the one in charge. I make the decisions. Mine is clear. Ego. The heart sounds different. It sounds like, hey, can I have humility and look at both sides? Can my decision right now be based and aligned with the greatest truth, even though I have a lot of anxiety and fear? Even though I might not know for sure that things might not be going exactly as my ego would want it to be, or at the pace my ego wants it to be, or it makes my ego feel uncomfortable here, not knowing or feeling this way, because it's really my wound that's feeling this way. It has nothing to do with this perceived threat, because everyone with the ego wants to say, it's not me, it's other. Other is making me feel this way. Other is the problem. If it were up to me, everything would be just peachy keen, but everyone else is a problem. That's how everyone else sees it too. Like their way is right and everyone else is a problem. So now we're all separate selves running with their own story, and ours is right and everyone else is wrong. No. So let's just close this out for the collective divine feminine here. Okay, I'm also getting Taurus Libra energy just from this heavy divine feminine energy, and then Cancer and Pisces. Clear and concise message for the divine feminine to close out this reading. What is this message? So I don't know. She's about to make a decision, and it might be to block someone out or to go on some sort of monologue. You know, what's the truth? My truth is nothing but the truth. And I don't know, say something maybe hurtful or do something cutful, you know, or cut someone off or something like this, which is up to her. Strength in reverse. So ego death, dropping of the ego. And she might say, I need the courage to do this, you know. It's like, yeah, we need the courage to face our great fear. And our great fear could be being rejected. Our great fear could be putting us in a position that our ego doesn't like, being vulnerable, opening the heart space, finding out, seeing beyond ourselves. It would require strength. It would require courage. It would require us dropping our ego. Leo energy. Ace of Swords. Yeah, because this message is all about seeing beyond the veil, okay? There's only one truth, and that's the divine truth. Everything else is relative. It's our own distorted perception. No matter how right it feels, of course it's going to feel right to you. You're the one carrying that perspective. You lived it, but that doesn't make it the ultimate truth. It just makes it your truth. And everyone has that. It'd be very egoic to think, I'm the only one that's lived. I'm the only one that could come up with an idea that's right. And everyone else is not. No, it's just more obvious to see other people's perspectives as distorted because they also project their own fear and their subconscious. And so if someone's looking at you from the outside in, they could see your subconscious and your fears and distortions and be like, whoa, divine feminine's all fucked up, you know? And you're like, no, this person's all fucked up. It's like, both you guys are all fucked up, you know? We're all fucked up. But it's like, at least I can embrace and see beyond myself to say, I'm fucked up, you're fucked up. There's a whole bunch of trauma in the roots and ego battling it out. So divine, what is the great truth? And only when I see this great truth, then can I take decisive action. Because any other action would be out of fear, would be out of ego, wouldn't be from the heart, would be imbalance, would be out of distortion, would be cowardly, would be not good, not in line with truth. It wouldn't cut through the confusion that she's wanting to see, because there's no doubt in my mind this divine feminine wants the truth and she wants to see clearly beyond something she doesn't understand. And Spirit says there's only one way through to this truth, and that is to align ourselves with the God truth. Everything else is going to lead to suffering, pain, distortion, and we could be in ignorance and say, yay, I found my own truth here. That's fine. If we found our own truth, we can live in that all we want. But what this message is really saying is when we choose that, we still have the veil, and then we're going to move on to something else or do something else with that veil still and recreate this sort of level of consciousness here on earth. And Spirit's saying, no, we need to rise above this. We need to open the heart space. We need to choose love, and we need to move in line, because that's what we're destined to do, to see greatness in truth and act only in truth. That's what's going to get her to the star, not this other thing. This other way, or what she wants to do, or listen to the ego, or not do the courage. If she wants to do that, she can. She has free will to do that, but it won't lead to star, and it's not in line with heart, and it's choosing fear, and it's cowardly and ego. All right. Yeah. Lead to the star. So this reading's so super clear to me. Truth to lead to the star, the clarity to lead to the star, which means what she's saying with the star is what she wants for the long term. What she wants for the long term, there's only one way through, and it's through truth. And she's not seeing it right now because her ego's in the way, and her distortions, her fears, and what she's telling herself she needs to do and why she needs to do it. And then she says, that's the truth. It's not. It's completely distorted and fucked. It's coming from some pain body here, okay? So true empowerment doesn't look like the way she thinks it looks like. True acceptance doesn't look the way she thinks it looks like right now. Because what she's seeing is actually through the pain body. And then she's dressing it up as empowerment, acceptance, justifying that that's what it is. And it's not true. Aquarius energy. Okay. So this is also very, very healing. And it's saying this is going to be a healing process when she finally can see through her own distortion and see beyond her ego and be like, now I see the perspective shift here. Now I could see beyond myself, or that thing that when we're so entwined in that trauma, it's like we can't remove ourselves or create space between that belief and ourself. And so when we say it like it's truth, we believe it so much, we can't even see beyond it. So we got to question even like the base fundamentals here, because that's where we're tripping ourselves up. Running and assuming like it's accurate, and then we just stack up on top of that belief. No, that belief needs to be questioned. It's not true. It's coming from pain masquerading as independent self, or whatever you want to call it, empowerment, or this is where I'm going to get the most contentment. No, it's your ego is going to get the scratchy itch that it thinks it needs, and then it's going to be disappointed and living in the veil. And so this divine feminine is being called to wake up the hearts. She's being divinely guided, and she is the wake up that this universe is needing here. But if she's wandering this thing still in ego, no one else is going to wake up from the ego. No one else is going to do the thing that she's thinking that they need to do or should do, and I'm doing it. It's like, no, you're not doing it, actually. You're still in ego. You're still in illusion. You're still in veil. You're still acting from suffering. You're still not seeing clearly. So as long as you're here, everything around you is going to reflect this back to you. The minute she's humble enough to say, whoa, I see that there's a choice here, and that I've been thinking that I was right. Let me choose love, which is going to make me so uncomfortable, because it's going to require me to have courage to trust what unfolds here. Even if my ego says it wants this and it wants that and it wants to be the prize and it needs to hear this and it needs to say that. And no, it might look completely different. It might make her feel abandoned. But is it really abandonment? It might not be. It might be a distortion. It might feel like abandonment if she has this root chakra issue. Okay, or trauma, or whatever we want to call it. Now, this doesn't mean be alone and happy. It means how are we perceiving this, and what emotions are being driven by this action? Because she's going to react on some sort of trauma here, okay, or she is reacting on some sort of trauma. So this is a reading, Divine Feminine. This is your reading. I hope this helped you, okay? I love you very much, and I wish you guys the very best. We'll see you at the next one. Bye-bye.